looks like. All right, we are live. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? This is your brother Shabazz with the proper perspective. We coming to you live tonight. Got a special guest in the house. We got a very influential individual.
Oh my Lord.
We're gonna be having a conversation with Clovia Lawrence. So you may see the title on the screen somewhere: Carter G. Woodson, Black Media and Community Power. Clovia Lawrence speaks. We're gonna get it started. I don't want to belay it too much. I thank you, Clovia, for agreeing to this conversation. I hope that we can provide the listeners and the viewers some interesting interesting information that will empower them in whatever ways it's needed. So again, thank you for agreeing to this interview.
Oh, absolutely.
I usually start my show just by saying peace, assalamu alaikum, and hotep to the Pan-African Black world. Today, we're gonna look beyond the smoke and mirrors, and we're gonna try to clear up some. Well, we're gonna try to clear up some things if those things need to be cleared up. I'll just say it that way. Sometimes I get some people that come through, and they like to have conversations that ain't really about the topic or whatever. So sometimes what you'll see me do is I may I'll put some and I'll put some comments on the screen like that when they enter. And so peace to Satora. She says hi, community Chloe.
Hi, Satora.
So now we're gonna get it started.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me pull up my questions. I think I'm looking on the wrong screen. Okay, so I'll start off this way. I'll say, if you want to, I'll say it this way. You've spent over 3 decades shaping public narrative through radio and journalism. You have a very powerful resume. So here's a question for you.
Okay.
Carter G. Woodson created Negro History Week because he believed narrative control was essential to Black liberation. In your view, are we honoring Woodson's original mission, at least today, 2026?
Mm-hmm.
Or have we begun diluting Black History Month into something symbolic rather than structurally transformative?
Mm-hmm. Well, good evening, Shabazz. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of the proper perspective and all of your viewers this evening. Thank you so much for being a part. And I'm going to answer these questions. Man, you gave me some tough questions. You had me meditating, trying to pull all this stuff out, because these are conversations we really don't have anymore. And the mere fact that you have just watching all of your shows, I'm like, okay, he's on it. Well, when Carter G. Woodson created Negro History Week, it wasn't about just celebration. It was more about correction. That's the one thing. It was more about correction. Okay. It wasn't about reclaiming narrative power. He believed that if we didn't document and teach our history, someone would distort it or erase it. And for all of our studies, when we were, on the campus of VUU, when we were reading about Carter G. Woodson, and I always like to read about the heavyweights and how they felt in an era of dismay, an era of just taking away your freedom, taking away your lifestyle, your character, your morality. And so when I think about Black History Month, as we celebrated 365, it still gives us space to highlight the brilliance, the resilience of all of our family members, whether from yesterday, the day before that, and today. But visibility matters. But visibility and transformation is what really matters. Now, we can talk about the greats during Black History Month, and we have allowed the system to tell us how long we're going to salute us, right? But Woodson didn't, it was like a tester for him to see how we're going to push the narrative when it comes to pieces of education and embedding our history into American history. It's American history. Okay.
Yeah.
We may kick it off by saying, hey, we're celebrating Black history, but we're etched in American history. And so
Right.
when we don't talk about us as far as American history, we're leaving out policy, the polity, we're leaving out economics, we're leaving out our civic power, we're leaving out culture, right? But we're
Mhm.
left with just entertainment. And we're more than just entertainment.
Yes.
You want to jump in right there. You're looking like, let me go.
Oh no, I would just say like like I feel that so much because I've had this ongoing conversation online and offline
Yeah.
about, you know, there's always like these expressions, we're gonna do this for the culture, we're gonna stand up for the culture, and this is for the culture. And it's always a conversation. And once you make that announcement, the conversation goes right to music.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I've just always been like, but what about the other elements? But everybody is always, whether they're being protective of the culture, whether they're being celebratory of the culture, whether they're being critical of the culture, it's
Mm-hmm.
always a conversation about music. And I'm just like, this is what this, at least in my mind, this is not what Carnegie Woodson was talking about.
Right. And music it does, it helped us with our ancestors, whether it was the humming,
Mhm.
it was, the ham bone, it
Right.
was. But
Mhm.
this new age of just making music and calling women and men out of their names, this is not protecting the culture. And I'm just going to
Right.
be honest about it. But we do celebrate. Celebration is powerful. It talks about our accomplishments and how we did overcome. For real though, Shabazz. But education is liberation. It's more than just protecting the culture. It's just
Uh-huh.
liberation. And we got to get back to the basics of how we were and what we were to make a decision on it's for the culture now. But what our
Right.
ancestors fought, and I know it may sound taboo in our communities, they fought and died for us to be free, but it's so true. And for me,
Mhm.
as someone who spent decades on radio and journalism, I believe that narrative control is ownership, education, and it's accountability. Black media protects Woodson's legacy. I can't speak for any other Black media, but I can speak for Radio One Richmond. And we like to inform our communities about
Uh-huh.
policy, economics, and civic power. Like we're in the midst of Virginia's General Assembly, and I talk every day, keeping an
Right.
eye on the GA. What are your lawmakers up to?
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's like, well, I'm not taking off to go to the GA, but you take off for nothing, but you allowing lawmakers to make decisions over your life, your lifestyle, your community now, and your future without your input.
The very culture that you say you're trying to protect and defend and celebrate, and you just let people go and do their thing with no interaction, with no commentary, with no, it's it's wild.
Mhm. We have access to the mic, but we're
Uh-huh.
not controlling our own narrative anymore. We've just given on our own narrative, but we're talking about everything else about, as my grandmother used to say all the time, and I use it now, just bring it on in. It's time to bring it on in.
Uh-huh.
And I
Exactly.
was like, what did she mean by that? Bring it on back to the foundation. Bring it on back to the basics. We need to bring it on in, bro.
Exactly. Bring it back to the foundation where it all started.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I'm gonna try to. I think I got a couple of controversial
So
questions
did
in
I
here.
go off base or did I bring it on in?
No, no, you you
Okay.
you you you
I
hit
thought,
you hit it fine. You,
okay.
you, you knocked it out the park. Trust me that. I'm sort of like you may see my eyes jumping back and forth because I
Yeah.
got a couple extra windows. I'm trying to make sure I'm looking for like I've had a couple of online debates, so to speak, and people,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to see if anybody's gonna come in and start the little brouhahas that they sometimes they do. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to like, stay on top of things. But let me ask you this. Um and because this might be one of the controversial questions.
Okay.
So there is a growing controversy, at least a little bit online. I'm not sure if it's really on the ground, offline, in the streets, so to speak.
Right.
But there's this little growing controversy over whether Black History Month should focus exclusively on Black Americans. particularly descendants of U.S. slavery, versus taking a broader global African approach. And it's an online, it's a hot button issue. So for you, as someone deeply rooted in community work, and yeah, particularly this is Richmond, Virginia. So and every city has its own
Yeah,
like flavor and profile. So like I've had some conversations with brothers, um, in DC, brothers in Baltimore, brothers in Philly and New York, and everybody has got like a little bit of a different
right.
view on online versus street, what's real and what's not. But so since your work is deeply rooted in community,
Hmm.
how do you think balancing the honoring of the specificity of Black American of experience without erasing the global African diaspora?
Right.
Or should there be a balance?
I think if you all, we've all made contributions, so it should
Uh-huh.
be a balance.
Uh-huh.
And I think what happens is I've been Black all my life, right?
Uh-huh.
And we claim issues, challenges, strengths, and or weaknesses like we're the only ones, right?
Yeah.
We'll
Uh-huh.
claim something negative. But if I said, okay, you're mad, like your viewers tonight, we'll say, okay, 10 viewers, you
Mm-hmm.
got a great credit score, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's go and buy us a building. Corporations are buying all of the buildings downtown. Why don't we get together and fuss in this building in our conference room in our own C-suite? No,
Right.
because you got more money than me. Your credit is better than mine.
Yes,
Right?
indeed. Like,
I'm just gonna keep it funky with
uh-huh.
us. Okay.
Right.
Right. And we can't blame somebody else for what we've done because our Black brothers and sisters then, they were better than what we are now. Better.
Yeah,
They
I'd agree with that.
Character meant everything.
Right.
Morality meant everything. What's in a
Mhm.
name meant everything. Who's your mama? Who's your daddy? Who's your family?
Well, that's an interesting question because I'm getting a lot of people asking me something similar, but not quite that. They ask me, "Where was you born?" And
Hmm.
they're getting at this idea because I may say some of the like I may take the position sort of like what you said, and so well, let me start over. It's like connected to this question is this idea
Yeah.
should should Black History Month be should we include information like the Haitian Revolution in a conversation about Black
Hmm.
History Month? Should we include, brothers like Kwame Ture in a conversation or a discussion or a celebration of
Hmm.
Black History Month? Or should we just keep it? No, oh, nope. Kwame Ture was born in Trinidad. He ain't us. Haitian Revolution, that's down there. That's outside the borders. That ain't got nothing to do with us. Black History Month is just for us.
28 days when clearly, and I stated it before, if you just read up and you study Carter G. Woodson, he wanted to start it as a 28-day of education for us to incorporate it into American history.
History.
We're part of
Right.
American history. And
Mm-hmm.
when we think about our parts, it's just like our Haitians and our Asians brothers and sisters, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking about their history. We're the only ones that say, I'm going to claim this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you think about us honestly and just telling the truth, right? Black American history, and we all know we were descendants of US
Mm-hmm.
slavery, has
Right.
specific historical, legal, and economic reality. It is a reality that it happened,
Right.
right? And I want
True.
to be careful about this. So I had to write it down, make sure I don't miss anything. And as
Mhm.
US slaves, we were chattel, we were a part of Jim
Mhm.
Crow, we were a part of redlining, and the big one that's still here, mass incarceration. Now, these are not just abstract concepts. This shaped our policy. It shaped our
Right.
reality. It shaped the
Mhm.
financial future for others to build
Yes.
generations of wealth, to build huge trust for generations to come, with the exception of us. And that's what happened to us. Now, when I think about the richness of connecting Africa to the Caribbean and South America, it it all plays in together. And
Thank
we
you.
are God's world citizen. I know people are going to be like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. No, we are God's worldly citizen because we're finding out more and more
Hmm.
each year as the day go by.
Right.
But why do you think Carter G. Woodson wanted to do 28 days to say, hey, let's identify as Blacks? But
Hmm.
we don't want it to stay at 28 days. We are part of American history.
Right.
Because if we don't etch ourselves into a part of American history, that's all we will think of ourselves.
Hmm.
28 days.
28 days.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm like
American history is
I
365.
I have been like I'm in retirement mode, so I'm no longer
Mhm.
like, directly working in the field, but I was always when I was in the field, I was always trying to push. I was always asking the question, how come, like, why is it still just February? Like, I'm not mad at
Yeah.
February, but how do we get this ball rolling where we need to rework the curriculum? Because 28 days is fine, but Carter G. Woodson wanted the whole thing.
He told us
I
what he
don't know why
wanted.
we can't work on that.
Mhm.
But
So do you think that in order for him, he was thinking the same thing that we were thinking? Okay.
uh-huh,
Community advocate and what you do, your voice.
uh-huh,
And it's not about division, right?
hmm,
It really strengthens our unity. But what
right,
happens is we don't have to diminish someone else's light from other cultures. We don't have to. We
right.
really, really don't have to. But we can start creating an understanding of what happens globally. And we're all connected. The
Thank
problem is
you.
we're not sitting here talking about the connection, and we don't
Right.
have to dilute. We don't have to dilute. We can embrace each other. The problem is we're not embracing each other, and we're creating all of this friction, and you got this
Uh-huh.
continued stuff that's happening, and everybody's celebrating everybody else. And guess what we got,
Uh-huh.
Brother Shabazz? 28 days.
28 days. 28 days.
And
Yeah.
not even celebrating globally anymore. It's just locally, nationally,
Mhm.
28 days.
Yeah, it's like there's more of a push, there's more energy behind, let's just keep the 28 days and make sure that we only focus on us,
Mhm.
instead of following the inspiration and following the intent of what Carter G. Woodson was laying down to push for the whole year. And like, if you push for the whole year, maybe the closed mindedness about let's just keep it focused on us
Mhm.
would more easily go away.
Mhm.
If you feel like it's only 28 days, so it should just be us. Well, if it's 365,
What
are you gonna feel
365 is?
more?
What 365 is all of us living here in the United States of America.
Well, this is true. I like, now I'm thinking, and I make this mistake often. So like when I'm thinking of it and when I'm speaking of, I'm thinking like back at the classroom. So I'm thinking
Right.
curriculum, I'm thinking schools and whatnot. But on the outside of the school, yeah, it's a little, it should be easier for us to do something 365. I don't know. Again, now I don't know if we do that either.
I tried what I try to do with my listeners at Radio One, whether they
Uh-huh.
listening locally, nationally, or globally by way of live stream, is
Mhm.
when I talk about celebrating our rich history 365, whether it's going to be our rich history about economics, if it's going to be our rich history about something that happened in our history that was inclusive
Mhm.
of us. I always think about our rich history as, and Shabazz, I've been doing this for a number of years. When we think about Maggie L. Walker,
Mhm.
for the longest time, and someone got it right. So for the longest time, she was the first person to fund and charter and become president of a bank, right? For
Mhm.
a number of years, we say she was the first Black woman. Now, to you, does it connotate that it was a first white woman who did it when you say the first black woman?
I never really looked at
Uh-huh.
whether or not there was a white woman that had done that. I
Mm-hmm.
just looked at it like I sort of looked at it like it's the first time that a black person did it, and we're just saying,
Mm-hmm.
we're
But,
identifying her, so
but it
obviously
doesn't,
she's a woman.
right. So we can say, well, we already know
Okay, here
that
there's a little bit of a
the white
there's a glitch.
woman has always done it. Okay.
Okay, there was a
We
glitch.
can
I did not hear.
assume
I
that.
can't hear you.
And then we
The feed is slowing
can
up.
say, but hey, we just want to recognize that this black woman has done it. That's in some instances, that's what it, a little glitch. I just can you see me now?
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it's
can
gonna
see you,
slow
and
up.
I think the audio was coming back.
Oh Lord.
I
Is
think
it
it's
better
coming back
now?
now.
Is it
Yeah.
better?
Yes, I can you hear me?
Hello.
Uh-oh, maybe you can't hear me.
Let me check my me. Hello?
Hello? Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, it's coming back now.
Yeah, I think we're back.
Yeah. So what part did you miss when I said you? I can hear you. I can hear you clearly. Keep on talking. Hello. I can hear. Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. When I mentioned Maggie Walker, first woman to uh, find, charter, fund, and become president of the bank for a number of years, they said she was the first black woman.
Oh yeah, that went out. Let me see. Well, we're having technical difficulties. We're gonna hold up a second and see. I believe Clovia has to go out and try to come back in. So we're gonna just give a pause for a second. And while she is trying to hit the link again, um, let me make sure everything else is working. Okay. So again, ladies and gentlemen, please just stand by for try to get this thing back situated. Here we go. Add the stage. Okay, so now we're coming back.
Hello.
Hello, we're
Hey,
back.
hopefully,
Hey,
prayer. I don't see your clock rolling.
okay, you don't see the clock rolling?
Yeah, I don't see it moving.
Do you see me moving?
Yeah, I see you moving. Now I see it.
Okay,
Yep, it's going again. Yep, the clock is,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
clock is tick
So we
tocking.
back. Okay, we back. So you were saying about Maggie Walker, um, the first black woman, as opposed to what a white woman did or did not do.
Right. So to me, and maybe others don't think so, but I had a conversation and I had Elva Trees Belches. She came on my show. She's a historian. And when we talked about Maggie Walker, it was like, yeah, she was the first African American woman to charter
Mm.
and become president of a bank. And she said, no, she was the first any race to do it.
Okay, I see what you're
Happening
saying.
here.
Here we go. Let's see. Well, we are obviously having technical difficulties. I'm gonna wait to see if we can get that back rolling, but that was a good point. Um, I think part of what Clovia was speaking to was, it's in one respect, it is definitely important to recognize, know, and understand that Maggie Walker was the first black woman to start a bank, but at the same time, it's also important to recognize that it wasn't necessarily just an accomplishment of, I think what she was saying is a black woman, but let me see, gonna try to get through this internet activity that is acting up and see what might be the issue. I will say this is a first time. Okay,
Can you
there we
hear me?
go.
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
hear you.
yeah.
Okay, I
I don't
got
know
you.
what happened.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's but you're back now. I don't know
Yeah,
why there's a
yeah.
static
And
type of thing going on.
you getting static now? You getting static?
Nope. I heard that. Like that
Okay,
came through clear.
okay.
So um I think I understood your point. What Maggie L. Walker was not only the first black woman, she was the first
Woman
woman.
of any
Right. So
race,
of any race. Okay. So and that is definitely
of any race.
something that is very much worth pointing out and making sure
And
that
I
people know and
think
understand it.
that's that
Hmm.
that's that's bigger than just mhm.
Ooh. Ha. Let me see.
Yeah,
Yeah, still having an issue
and
here.
that's very important to do. And I think we were so caught up in, hey, we don't care what they do over here, but the black person did it to do it of any race.
Right.
And now, if you look up Maggie Walker, charter a bank.
There are who?
Before she was instrumental, Maggie Walker and a few of her friends, huh?
No,
You
go
had
ahead.
me all fired up
There's still some kind of breakup going on.
because we didn't have problems before.
Yeah.
I said nothing moved. I didn't move anything. I didn't do anything. I don't know why it's not.
Yeah, let's do well,
Okay, and
hopefully it
do I
will
sound clear or
it should
staticky?
reset. I don't know.
Do I sound clear?
Yeah, you sound clear. You sound clear on my end now. What I might assume is
Let me
um it may just be an interaction. It may just be
I sound clear?
um something. Yeah, you sound clear when you ask me that. So it may just be on my end where I'm not hearing it, but it's still going over over the stream with no problem.
Okay.
So let me see. Let's just okay. I'm gonna see if I can just like yeah, this is kind of crazy. Let me see if you can
Uh-huh.
hear me, I'll just throw out like the next question and we'll see whether or not
You
you
want me
can
to
hear.
try?
So I'll say like if we move into the work that you're doing with
All right, shoot it off
re-
to me. You want those thick,
so when it comes to the reentry work that you're doing, rights restoration and
you
structural
want me to
power.
try to, you want me to
Um
try to bring
say again.
okay.
Okay, so through it's called what
Reentry?
closed house holistic transitional living. That's your organization. You work directly with men returning from incarceration. When we talk about restoring rights,
No, I'm
voting
listening.
rights, employment access, housing, are we truly committed to
Mm-hmm.
justice reform? Do you find that is it really
Yep.
are people really responsive to the work that you're doing there, or is it like they're just trying to feed lip service and give you the runaround, so to speak? Okay, so it looks like this connection. Let's see. Peace to the boogeyman. He's coming through to see what's going on. Thanks for joining, family. Peace, family. Peace to the boogeyman. 32. Uh, we're gonna see if Clovia can still hear us.
Well, when I talk to other folks that are working in reentry, and it's like, oh, we want a wonderful house, we rated, and they were like, uh, no. I was like, oh, you only do, yeah, okay. I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I don't know how to. Let me see if because if I go out, the whole it's gonna end. I can't.
Do you want me to try?
Yeah, see if you can. I was gonna
Wait a minute.
like.
Do you want me to try to? I can try it on my cell phone. Let's
That's
see if
fine with me. That's good with you.
my cell phone
It,
works.
usually it happens the
Let
other
me
way
try.
around, but whichever connection is going to be
Let me
stronger.
try it on my cell. But I let me try to pull it up on my cell phone.
Okay, here we go. Let me see.
Let me see.
Okay,
Okay. This is I muted the other one. Let me
okay,
mute mute the TV one. I mean the
okay. I
yeah.
did. It's
It's
on,
on.
and
Okay.
you sound
You
clearer.
sound
So
clearer. So okay.
okay, so
Okay.
so
So
with your work,
your work. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and let me go ahead and
go
get
ahead.
the other one off. Yeah. Let me go ahead and close out the other one.
Right.
Okay, because it was gonna be not a good thing. Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
So with your work through closed house holistic transitional living,
Hmm.
you work directly with men returning from incarceration.
Correct.
So now when we talk about restoring rights, voting rights, employment access, housing, do you find that the people that you're working with are they truly committed to reintegration, or is it just managing the optics around justice reform?
Well, the
Now I ain't trying
numbers.
to put you on the spot, you know.
No, no, it's a great question
Mhm,
because I sit across from men who are doing the hard work rebuilding their lives. I can call them out. Ubeda Baith, Hassan, Double O, Oladario Gundy, and most of the names of the people who did come through our program who did 17 plus years. They're homeowners now. They're business owners. When I mentioned Ubeda, I'm so proud of him because when he was released from incarceration, well, released from incarceration and entered closed house, he he was DOC paid for his bed space for about 2 months, and then he said, I don't want to go back home. Could you give me an opportunity? Just give me 30 days. I just got a job and I want to pay my son's auto insurance. He was a
okay.
freshman at Morehouse. And I
Okay.
said, sure. And when he did that, he worked. We had him at one location. We moved him to another location and he became manager. He stayed at the house for like a year and a half as a manager. He's still one of our
Hmm.
managers to this day. He left our house. I put him in a housing program with River City Blues Realty, Smitty Smith, and he's a homeowner. And in the midst of him becoming a homeowner, his son graduated from Morehouse, went to the Harvard Law School, and graduated from Harvard with a job in Chicago. And he passed the bar the first time he took it. He raised
Okay.
his son while he was
Mhm.
incarcerated.
Okay.
So these are the managers of Closed House. The managers of Closed House will tell us, Chloe, he's not going to make it. Let's just ride it out and keep him comfortable. He's either going to go back to prison or the streets are going to get him.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, so they've been incarcerated. So it is so funny when you have the younger generation who comes through the program in some instances, not all, but a few, they were like,
Mhm.
yeah, you don't understand double O. You don't understand. And they've been in prison for like 5 years. He said, I did 17 and a half years. Right.
Woo.
And so
Oh,
we had at one point in our house, we had three men, 146 years, 143, and 142 years.
okay.
And they
Wow.
were serious about the process. So the first question I asked when you come home, do you want to go to prison for the rest of your life? And they're like, what kind of question is that? And they were
But that's a
like,
good.
right. So I asked the real question.
Hmm.
Do you want to go to prison for the rest of your life?
Right.
And they think about it and then they are like, no. But then when I ask the question, if you don't want to go, and I said, freedom is expensive, but you got to spend it wisely.
Right.
And I know when you once you return from incarceration, you got that lady or you got that man waiting for you, and you can come and stay with me because you owe me. I
Uh-huh.
supported you and held you down, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then when they come home, we have the serious conversation, and they're like, "Don't let anybody know I'm at home, Miss Chloe." I'm like, "Okay." So the ones who
Okay.
don't want anybody to know that they're coming home, and then the first thing I tell them too, I said, I know you're not serious about it, and they'll say, What do you mean? I'm not serious about my freedom. Who's getting ready to have a party for you?" And they were like, "What are you going?" I was like, "We're not doing parties. We're applying that to your restitution, bruh. No, we're going to get your driver's license and birth certificate. Because remember, you were riding dirty back in the day, you didn't have an ID. So we're gonna
Right.
take that money. Yeah. So those are things. And when we did that, Those are my guys who were successful. They were
Right.
angry, but they were successful. There were no
Right.
parties for them, no pulling out the shebang, none of that. So I said, if you do that, if you have that party,
Hmm.
then I know you're not serious. And then I just say, hey, well, your time gonna be up in 30 days. See ya. But the
Right.
ones who really want to, and I think we don't we do holistic reentry, and holistic is from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Where's your
Right.
head space? We understand the first day that you come home from prison, because people have asked us that before. Hey, we got this job. I was like, they were incarcerated for 15 days. They need to sleep in a bed and quiet. They're
Right.
not going to work today, tomorrow,
Right.
or that week. We're going to send them over to OAR, and what OAR can't do, we're going to do. Because
Okay.
my managers of the house were formerly incarcerated who graduated out of the houses. So they know how to help them, whether they have to order their birth certificate or their ID, if it expired in Virginia. My guys know how to help other guys get what they need, the
Right.
essentials, whether it's going to be
Right.
SNAP program, what your eligibility is, right?
Okay.
Finding
Uh-huh.
out, going to the courts to see if we can do community service to pay off some of your fines.
Right.
So that's what we do holistically. Now, I can't speak for other transitional programs, facilities, but I can only talk about the work that we do. And I can say boldly that the Virginia Department of Corrections, they are pleased with our work. We've been housing for them since 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I give you your flowers. That's
Yeah.
awesome work.
But we have to teach them not only about, because we have to get the head right first. And
Yes,
once they're feeling comfortable, and we have to understand, some men and women that are returning from incarceration, they didn't have a bed before,
this is true.
right?
This is true.
So now you're sleeping in a bed, you have a nice kitchen, you have decor on your wall, and it's remnants of a home or what a home
Uh-huh.
could be for you. And I always ask the question when I'm riding over and just, we call it the house check, and I'm doing the house check, and my guy, they're sitting on the back porch or whatever. And I was like, would you like to live in a neighborhood where felons live? No, I don't want no felons around me. You're one. But because yeah, and and another thing we do holistically, we put you in nice neighborhoods, right? So
Uh-huh.
that means if the neighborhood is quiet, you do not get on your cell phone sitting on the front porch on speakerphone cursing. You do not wear wife beaters without a belt, okay?
Uh-huh.
And so if you want to take a smoke, you smoke on the back porch, right?
Hmm.
If you want to play, you're going to play those songs with those racial epithets. You got to put on your headphones. You can go over to Family Dollar and get them. So we're going
Right.
to keep the neighborhood quiet. And the
Right.
ones who get it, they understand it. And when they leave, they understand it. We've had guys who have left before and they come on back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And some folks don't like order, but in order to get your life in order, you got to do the orderly thing
Right.
to start your life all over
Discipline.
again. But we love what we do,
Discipline.
and I'm so honored. The president of our foundation, he used to listen to me when he was incarcerated. He met me, he came to
Okay.
one of my events, and he said, we're going to work together. And I was like, first of all, bro, I can't even understand a word you saying. But here we are. I'm like, but what in the world? And here we are, like 10 years later. This is
Uh,
where we are. And so we
that's
love
dope.
what we do. Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, that is really awesome. Discipline is definitely the thing.
Yeah.
For everybody.
hmm
Well, now let me ask you this. Have you heard of this term, foundational Black American?
No, I saw the FBA up there. A school or sister.
Um, both.
Okay.
No, th- okay, wait a minute. Let me before I go there. What did you mean when you said school?
School me
or
on the foundational
oh
Black
school.
American.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So um okay, have you heard of Tariq Nasheed?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, he kind of a little bit of his claim to fame was the Hidden Colors DVDs, where he
Okay.
was
Okay. Okay.
going through some historical documentary type stuff,
Hmm.
information. Excuse me, my allergies are kicking in. Um well, there's this group of brothers and sisters. Some of them go by the letters FBA, Foundational Black American. Some of
Okay.
them go by ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. Um, but identity politics is a big thing for them.
Mhm.
And depending on how you feel about it, I kind of lean towards they are community disruptors, but they think they are community cohesive agents. So there's a lot of intensified debates within the black community within this thing about
Mhm.
lineage, reparations. I think a lot of it started with the conversation about reparations, and I think it just got a little a little out there. But when I have this conversation, people tell me that I'm straw manning their whole position. But so there's this thing about lineage, reparations, eligibility for reparations, who
Mhm.
gets to define black political priorities. So now if you're unfamiliar, then this may not necessarily be a fair question, and we can skip it because I
Well,
was
I
going to
no,
ask.
we got no. What with the FBA,
Okay.
but the identity politics and community cohesion. Yeah, I got a
Uh-huh.
response for that.
Okay. Good. Okay. So okay, and the boogeyman says this, and he's in the chat room. He says they want to rename African American. He said basically that's what they want. And so that's one of the things that they're pushing for is they say we were never asked if we want to be called African American. Jesse
Okay.
Jackson gave us that name. We don't
Hmm.
want that name. Now
Okay.
there,
Well, what do you want
there's
then?
some debate. They want foundational Black American. They want,
Okay.
and what they'll say is,
What does it mean
you
though?
know, what they say is, and to me this is very silly, but what they'll say is anybody can be called an African American. So you could be a brother from Ghana, you could be a brother from Nigeria, and you could
Hmm.
come to America and you could be called an African American. They'll
Okay.
say even Elon Musk is an African American. So the name
So
doesn't apply, and it doesn't identify us in a way that's significant and valuable and meaningful, whether politically, socially, culturally, or anything else. So they reject African American and say we should call ourselves foundational Black American. Now, me personally, I don't agree with that, but I'm not willing to die on that hill about that. I would
mm,
say you want to give yourself a new name. I don't have a problem with that. We got a whole history of changing
yeah, we
our
went from
ethnic labels,
color Negroes to
color,
color.
Negro, right? So
I'm black
that
till further notice. That's it.
thank you,
And
thank you.
everybody tells me that because you don't identify me in any person that there you go writing the narrative of who I am. But it's
Hmm.
more when to say that I'm black, that comes
Hmm.
with economic empowerment,
Uh huh.
that comes
Uh
with
huh.
accountability, that comes with
That
embedded education,
right.
that comes with impact,
Uh huh.
transformation, generations of
Hmm.
liberation
Right.
through ownership.
Right.
That's what being black means to me. It's more and then when we talk about reparations, okay,
Uh huh.
if somebody goes out here right now and give the average person 5 mil, what you think they're gonna do with it?
Whoa. Now. Uh
But to me,
huh.
right? And the jury is still out. We're growing
Right.
every single day. But I
Uh
think
huh.
reparations mean to me if there is an agreement and talks about reparations on a federal level, let it be a discount on education or some
Uh-huh.
full rides, right?
Right.
Or they
Uh,
found some land somewhere and you get
uh,
surplus back that land.
right.
I don't want nothing
Right.
else from you,
Okay.
right?
Now I'll give just a little pushback, just for the
Yeah,
sake of the
of
conversation.
course. Of
Um,
course.
I'm trying now because part of what I'm trying to do with with this topic and this part of the conversation is I'm trying to sort of ride the fence. So like I have my personal view, and then I try to articulate like the FBA view,
Right.
and maybe some of the like the more like the Pan African view or whatnot. So like my thing has always been we we should be structuring a request or demand for reparations that is similar similar to the distribution of the quote unquote reparations that the people from Germany got when they moved over to that little strip of land in the Middle East. I try
I
not to
bet
say
they
the
weren't
name.
I bet they weren't divisive or competing against each other.
And that's my issue with it because they all recognize, yep, this is what we want to do, and they all said, well, we gonna follow suit. Now, when you get to us, there's a group of us that say we need it, we deserve it. There's a group of us that say we don't need it, we don't deserve it. There's a group of us that say we deserve it, we ain't gonna get it. There's a group of us that say we deserve it, but it should only be a check. There's a group that says we deserve it, but it should be a check and a system. And then there's some that say we deserve it, but it should only be a system. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's 10.
Right.
That's 10
But
different positions.
we need to decide. We need to, and when I look at other cultures and when we're talking about lineage and we're talking about reparations, we
Mhm.
can't even get on one accord to come up with one solution for what it is the ask,
Right.
right?
Right.
If you're asking, if someone says, "Hey, black people, right now, what do you want? When do you want it?" And you're like, I want this," and it's going to be an argument and a fight. But
Right.
instead of us having an argument and strong arming each other, we need to
Mhm.
give up something so we can have for the next generation. That's what our ancestors did for us. That's why we can sit
Right.
side and say, I don't believe it's voting. I don't believe in Black history. I believe I got to protect my culture. After they fought for us,
Right. Right.
we
It's
don't
it's
even,
it's
we
it's
don't
amazing.
save our money. We want everybody to know what we have.
Uh-huh.
We and until we get to the bottom of what is going on in there.
Mhm.
Like you counted off 10 things that they wanted.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. And
So
so,
but we have to find a way to not be divisive about the things we
mhm,
want. But then how are we going to arrive at the things we want if we're competing against each other? If
that's
you
what
say you
I say.
want reparations and you want a check, and I say, nope, you don't deserve a check, that's an argument right there.
Right. And so I'm like, one of the things that I try to say is like I'll look at it like how do you bridge that? How do you bring all of these little voices together? So I'm like, if you don't believe that reparations should be a thing, then just sit in the bleachers and stay out of it. Now,
Mhm.
if you believe it should be a thing, but you don't like how this group is working on it, then go work on your own version. But the thing with the FBA is they believe that we can only get it if we make sure no other black group. If you was born in Jamaica but you've been living here, you don't get it. If you was born in Ghana but you living here now, you don't get it. And they believe we have to
There go
separate
another
ourselves
there go another division
from
again.
the rest of the black populace in order to make that march and make that demand. And so that's the thing I was trying to like bring up this
Okay,
idea of how do we how do we get people to buy into building bridges instead of burning them down in order to get the goal that they say is so near and dear to them.
Well, first of all, you said the key two words, bridge builder.
Uh-huh.
That's the key word. And it strengthens in layers of unity. Because we've seen it happen. It happens in our jobs or us rallying down at Virginia's General Assembly and people are fighting for this and fighting for that. No, put that out there because I want this. This is my group and we did it. All of those things,
Mhm.
right? When we had to fight for
Right.
restorative justice bills. But we have to target policy demands, and we find out that our human rights
Uh-huh.
and civil rights are relative.
Right.
Those are things that we need to demand,
Uh-huh.
right? And then when we look at those, then we look at the Americans played a part in being chattel slavery.
Right.
That comes into play. That really took place here in
Right.
America. But
Mhm.
that doesn't mean we're the only ones.
That's right. That's the thing.
We're not. And
I'm
but
constantly
when
amazed that.
we're here in the US, right?
Mhm.
We were taken and we were here by force. It's
Uh-huh.
chattel slavery. But we can't negate America and their global efforts and what they had to go through too, all while they're here in America.
Mhm.
Because how does Carter G. Woodson say, now he's thinking what we're having a conversation about now, back then.
Right.
Because if he's talking about incorporating this into American history, well, nobody here but the Native Americans, really, some blacks.
Mhm. I
So,
I think it's interesting because, like I said, and the videos keep popping up on my timeline, but I keep seeing African Americans making these comments
mhm.
that Carter G. Woodson only wanted Black History for us, and I'm like, if I go and look,
No, that's not
I
true.
looked I looked up his textbooks, I looked up his journals, his peer reviewed articles, like all of this stuff, all of his publications. He clearly says you could say he was focused on improving the American school curriculum, but in all of his textbooks, he would start off like chapter one. Here's what you need to know about Africa. Chapter two, here's what you need to know about the Caribbean. Chapter three, here's what you need to know about this segment of Black history. Chapter four, here's what you need to know about this segment of Black American
Because
history.
we're all connected. It's
Right,
connected.
right. And I don't understand me personally. Now I don't understand why that part is missing from at least a lot of the online conversations. But that's also why I wanted to ask you, with your, like, you got your ear to the street.
Hmm.
So if you say, well, I haven't really heard a lot about this FBA thing, it kind of proves a point, because there's another brother that I was talking to, and he was like, trust me, it's only online. They're not going
Hmm.
nowhere. They're not in the
Hmm.
streets. They're not doing nothing. It's just an online thing. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Well, then, the ship is still headed in the right direction, I guess is what
Hmm.
I would say. And so go ahead.
No, I'm listening. But
Okay.
everything about it is going to be division. Now,
Right.
you can have your collective opportunity, and when you have a collective effort or an opportunity, it doesn't mean everybody has to align with everybody, but we just don't
Mhm.
be divisive.
Right.
And this apparently Carter G. Woodson was talking about the very same thing we're talking about.
Exactly.
He
Exactly.
said, educate ourselves
Uh-huh.
so no one distorts our narrative.
Right.
Let's embed our education into history.
Right. Into the whole system.
So we're connected
Right.
from Africa to the Caribbean.
Right.
But we got to figure out how we're going to advance with the inclusion
Hmm.
locally and globally.
Right.
Because at this point, quote unquote, we're we're all God's children, right? That goes without saying. But number
Hmm.
two, we're God's global citizens. We
Thank you.
we're his global citizen.
Thank you.
You cannot rightfully say that Scandinavian is not in your blood. You don't know.
Hmm.
So you
Right.
guys global citizens. So we're picking and choosing sides. But what? Okay, we're picking and choosing sides. We're being seems like to me it could be other races are going because all races are going through division. Okay, we
Right.
just do it
Right.
out loud. Okay,
That's the
what
point.
what have you done with so-called the name change,
Mhm.
a request for reparations? How far have you gotten?
Now I will tell you
Not you, but
now for
generally speaking, with the
right
group.
now for me, one of the things for me that is frustrating about the reparations fight, the way it's being played out is I always looked at it like it should be a federal national thing. I understand that there were some things that happened in the courts, and everyone who is working on it decided it's going to be a lot easier to work state by state instead of on a federal level. And so, state by state, like in California, is sort of like the beacon
Right.
of how far it has gotten. Like they almost got all of their legislative projects passed. It got they got kicked back a little bit right at the last minute. Governor Newsom said no, but they did get some elements of the commission set up. They got something about um, the money that would have to be set aside. They got part of that legislation
Okay, so what are we
passed
planning?
where
What are we planning on doing with the funding? What are we planning on doing with the
now,
money?
to my understanding, the way they're doing every state is doing it, or every city is doing the states and the cities are doing it differently. So, like in California, they are literally looking at cutting a check to the household, so to speak, to the individuals who fit the definition of who was impacted by slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, so on and
Okay,
so forth.
and mass incarceration.
Um, right. Um, Illinois, I think in Illinois, they're still looking at who literally they're still looking at cutting the check, but I think they're only looking at who was impacted by housing discrimination. So in New
Discrimination. Okay.
right now, New York, they haven't decided how they're gonna do it. They're still like, well, maybe we should set up a commission, maybe we shouldn't set up a commission. Who's gonna be on the commission? We don't know what we're gonna look at yet. So every city and every state is doing something differently based on whatever the rules are in the state on the state level, as opposed to like if it were the federal level, you could just be like, okay, well, what y'all do for for the for the folk in the Middle East, copycat that. But because they're doing it on this state level,
Mhm.
it's
And they
very
have the right to
interesting.
decline and edit and amend. A lot
Right.
of
And so like California has the what was I gonna say? California has the oh, she's gone. Maybe.
I'm here.
Okay, okay. I can't see you on the
I'm here.
screen, but okay. Um,
You still can't see me,
no, not on the screen. I can hear you fine, clear as
but
day.
I can see you. I can see you on my screen.
Okay, that's fine. So California has like the most successful version. And again, the idea there is individuals would get the checks. Now, there are some other states thinking about it, and they're like, they are sooner considering, you know, community wide. So if they say yes, then it'll be sort of like what you said. Well, we're gonna create scholarships for people to go to school. We're gonna
Okay.
create,
Yeah.
tax incentive type things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So again,
Should be
that's the
down
thing. The
payment
thing is,
assistance for home ownership.
right, and all of those things are in the pocket in the bucket of,
Okay.
for lack of a better term, community advancement,
Okay.
specifically for the Black Americans who descend from the
Slate.
plantation slavery experience, so to speak. So again, the idea is, or the question is, how do you, like, how do you get people to focus on that without the division, or like, especially like even in Richmond, Virginia, from what I've seen, I I'm not necessarily aware of anything on the table, so to speak, legislatively wise, where Virginia
Mm.
or Richmond, Virginia has a reparations commission, so to speak.
Right.
Oh, let me see. Somebody said, yeah, somebody else texted saying they can't see
Right.
you.
They can't see me?
Correct.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
you're black on my screen.
Wow. And I can
So,
see you on mine and see me. Hmm.
wow.
Wow. That's interesting. That goes to show this conversation is powerful.
Those principalities
Yeah.
are kicking in. But let me see. I don't know. Let me see. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try to remove you from the screen and then add you back. Yeah, same thing. No
That is
change.
interesting.
Yeah, that is weird. Screen is black for me too. Somebody else said so. It's
Hmm.
definitely more than.
Well, I guess
Yeah, I don't have a thing.
that
Go
is
ahead.
interesting. I have it. I can see it. Do you want me to go X out the show and come back?
Yeah, try that real quick,
Let
and
me try
then
that. Let me try that.
we'll see if that. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Great conversation. Thank you. Shout out to Satura. Let's see. Notes, people. I should see when it pops back open. Comments. Hide. Hmm. People. Okay. So. Hmm. Well. Well, we have been having technical difficulties most of the night, so we're going to see if we can keep this going, and if not, we may have to. Let me see. Let's see. Here we go.
Can
There
you
we
see me
go.
there?
Yes. Okay, great. So, well, let's, like, I don't want to keep you too long. So if you want to, we can do, if you got time, we'll do maybe one more question and then we can call it a night.
Sure. I'm
Um,
sorry we had technical difficulties. I don't mind coming back again so we can make it right. So
yeah, I would anytime. I swear, I would love to have you come back. Do you want to pick the next one, or you want to just keep going in order?
let's see. Let's do something about, let me see. You had me going back in the day pulling out my old answers to stuff. I was like, what the world? Um, did I answer the thing about Shabuzi? Yeah, I think I
Oh,
did.
Shabuzi.
Yeah. We
That's
can do that
another.
one.
Okay, yeah, I'm
We
about
can,
to say because that's another one of those hot button. you know, so you know the statement. He said immigrants built this country.
Yeah.
And so the backlash began, and some African Americans felt like he's erasing. Here's that word again:
Right.
foundational,
Right.
foundational Black
Foundational.
American labor presence and
But I guess they
legacy.
look at all of us as immigrants. We just don't call us immigrants.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now a lot
we just,
of, and again, and I don't. Again, coming from this foundational Black American camp, they like even that statement they would find offensive. They were like, "We ain't no immigrant." And I'm like, but you said it correctly though. If you're looking at the oppressive powers,
yeah.
they do look at all of us like we're immigrants. But
Right.
the
Right.
backlash comes from no, 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 y'all trying to remove us, replace us. So again, so the question is, as someone rooted in both media and community advocacy, how do we navigate conversations about historical credit? Because I saw this not just with Shabuzi when Mayor Mamdani did
Yeah.
his acceptance speech in New York.
Hmm.
He
Hmm.
essentially said the same thing about New York. He said immigrants built this city. Now a lot of African Americans, I don't know if they, I don't know if they align
I guess
themselves with the SBA. Go
immigrants look
ahead.
at us as Americans too.
Okay, so again, so if immigrants look at African Americans as just plain old Americans. So then when an immigrant oriented person says, we immigrants built this country, they are not including us. Is that something we should be offended by?
Well, let me read what I wrote because I was
Okay.
like, oh my God. I said, conversations like this require maturity, not loud microphones or megaphones of division. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
When Shabuzi said immigrants built this country, I understand the spirit of his statement because he's an immigrant. We don't want to leave that out. Let's just be clear, right?
Right.
He has a
Uh-huh.
lineage. He has ancestry. And that's his
Mhm.
ancestry, right?
Right.
That's what
Uh-huh.
okay? You can't negate that fact.
Okay.
All right? America is a nation shaped by immigration. That's a historical fact. I had to write this carefully. But I also understand African Americans, particularly descendants of enslaved people. That's
Uh-huh.
a whole different that's a whole different conversation. Like it's a how do we bring this whole thing together? Because what I'm doing is doing the identification first, right?
Uh-huh.
Shabuzi said what he felt from from immigrants, right?
Right.
We're talking about how do you call yourself an immigrant? When we were enslaved Africans, we weren't trying to come up over here, but we're
Right.
over here, right?
Uh-huh.
We're part of
Uh-huh.
this too, right? So when I look at this and like this, I'm gonna read it right the way I wrote it. But I
Okay.
understand why some African Americans, descendants of enslaved people, felt that statement erased something foundational. There go your word, foundational. The unpaid
Uh-huh.
labor of enslaved Black Americans was not immigration.
Mm-hmm.
It was forced extraction. It was
100.
chattel slavery, and it laid economic foundations for this nation in ways that are measurable and undeniable, which means what we went through built the economic wealth of a generation and
Right.
a nation. Okay. So our works off our backs built the economy,
True.
right? So now we're
Right.
looking at it, right? So it's
Uh-huh.
according to what immigrants he was talking about. Was he talking about the enslaved African immigrants? What we was talking about? So when and I had because this question really had me up all night. I just want to let you know you had me up all night. And
Oh my
so
goodness.
when I look at it built this nation of us being enslaved.
Uh-huh.
It did. Okay. So how do we navigate this without turning it into a zero sum battle? Right? Because it can
Right.
be a battle, right?
Right.
You say the immigrants built this, right?
Uh-huh.
But you reap the benefits of where you are now because of us being chattel slaves.
Right.
I can see where we can go awry, right? So
Uh-huh.
we start by separating recognition from competition. That's how we start. So we have
Okay.
to we can say, let's be inclusive of the immigrants. What do you mean? Because we have to ask the question. We got to sit there and
Right.
have a real conversation. Dinner
Mm-hmm.
always is a big deal. You have this conversation and say, well, when you say immigrants built this nation, dial it back and tell us what you give us a specific point,
Right.
right? And then when you think about it, you say, oh, okay, you know what? I didn't think about that because a lot of times we do have aha moments, right? And be like,
Right.
yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, let's add this over to the recognition side because if
Uh-huh.
we don't, we're going to keep doing the competition. Immigrants
Right.
versus enslaved Africans. And who
Right.
built this? Because they
Right.
contributed, right? So then I say acknowledge immigrant contributions does not diminish us, the brutal wealth building labor of enslaved black Americans. That's
Right.
where it's kind of like, how can I salute them when they didn't go through what I went through? But they went through
Right.
something,
Right.
right? And it's hard. Black folks
Uh-huh.
hate me right now, but I still love you. I don't care what you say. I still love you. Right? And honoring the foundational role of slavery does not negate the sacrifices of immigrant communities. The tension usually rises when language lacks precision. History requires specificity. As someone rooted in both, I'm in media and community advocacy. I believe our role is to add context, not fuel conflict. We can say clearly enslaved labor, we can say
Mhm.
this, built the economic bedrock of this country.
Right.
That's a fact. Now, if we
Right.
talk to someone who's an immigrant who says the opposite, then they're not telling the truth.
Right.
We got it. We
Right.
got it. That's just recognizing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're doing the
Right.
recognition on this piece here, right? We can also say immigrants have continuously shaped and rebuilt it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we laid the foundation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they rebuilt it. So that's their recognition too. But at the end of the day,
Right.
it's layered and not competition because you had to rebuild. You didn't build this. We built it. We didn't want
Right.
to,
But
but
we
you
did it.
rebuild. You came in and say, "Hey, look, we're gonna build this. We're gonna build that. We're gonna build this tower. We're gonna build this and build this." But we had already laid the foundation. So
Right.
it's just recognition on both sides. And I really was like, it's crazy because you're trying to break it down on both sides. And it comes
Uh-huh.
down to the word usage of foundation and rebuild.
Mhm.
Because when you rebuilt something, you didn't build it the first time.
Right. Right.
Somebody built that, which was the enslaved Africans.
Mm-hmm.
But you came in as immigrants, you saw a change that needed to be made, and you rebuilt on it.
Right.
So now we recognizing both sides. We're doing the communication about it, and we need to come together to talk about that because if we don't come together to talk about it, this is going to be generational.
Right. And
Because
that's the thing.
have you
Oh,
ever heard that before? I've never heard that before. I've
you
never
never
heard
heard
that before.
you never
That
heard what before?
immigrants built this. I've never heard that statement before. I'd never heard it prior to that time. I really,
I guess I mean I can understand it. I probably have to say the same. I had never really heard it.
yeah,
I think the
like
idea was like planted in my subconscious some kind of way because I always like I had I like I always looked at it like we built the country, but at the same time, like I just had this, just from different things that I read over the years, like I knew about, for instance, the Chinese who came in during railroad construction era,
Right.
and
And
they
that's
were
their lover.
right, and so it was just like, oh yeah, again, we had already built up a huge, significant amount
We laid the
of the
foundation so
country.
they can build the tracks. Okay.
Right, right. And so it's very, I don't know, difficult and tricky when you see like Mamdani and Shabuzi make the comment. For me, the question is, were they saying it in defense of their own background, or
That's
were
what I'm
they
thinking.
saying it in offense to African Americans? And
I really
I
don't.
think it's the first.
I really don't think. I don't think that it was a slight against us. I really don't. But they
Uh-huh.
really had strong feelings about their contributions here in the US. Because
Right.
immigrants and immigration has been in the news. That's the popping evidence. So of course, if it wasn't a situation with ICE, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Because I've never
Right.
heard that before. I've never I have never. And I've been
Right.
in radio for 40 years of saying immigrants built this.
Right. But
But
that's a very good point to make. The political climate, due to the man in charge and ICE, it's
right,
off the heels of that. So it's them standing up for their presence,
mhm,
for their right to be here.
right. Because they
So
said they
it's
work
it's
jobs that we wouldn't work. You know,
right.
it sends the connotation, and we've heard it before. You know, you get our brown brothers and sisters, they're gonna work sun up to sundown, but you get our brothers and sisters,
Uh,
they're like, I ain't gonna work in a pigsty. I'm not gonna. Right.
nah,
And
we
that could be something that's derived from that, but they're seeing the today,
mhm,
but they don't know anything about the foundation.
right. And again, the at least part of it still stems from the fact that we haven't pushed for a curriculum that is
Yeah.
365 days
Right.
of Black history. Like,
Well, first of all,
you
we got to
know,
sit down. We can't even sit down, Shabazz. We can't, we can't find out if we're gonna call us FBA or just call us Black, Negroes, colored. We haven't even decided on who gonna do what. The finance
but
department that's going to be a part over here. Then you got the educators. Then you got the researchers over here. Then we got to get our
uh-huh,
scientists. We got to get our feasibility study directors so we can go ahead and
uh-huh,
dig deep and build. Let's talk
right,
about it in our own building.
right, right. I'm like, I mean, I was gonna say so, but yeah, you are absolutely right. Like, it's it's too much of a, what is it they say? You running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
It cut off.
It's a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
Um, but it's part of the reason that I even named my channel or my show Proper Perspective, because I'm trying to grapple with these controversial topics and give
Yeah.
all sides, like, some air to let out the
Yeah.
grievance, and then say, okay, now can we
Yeah.
slow this down? Can we bring this back to
Yeah.
some sobriety and some maturity? Um, Now, the boogeyman says, I don't understand the pride in building an imperialist country responsible for slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, mass incarceration, and the
Mm-hmm.
destabilization and destruction of every non-white country.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I might tend to agree. Like, there is this thing about how
Yeah.
far do you want to say, like, we built this country, but how far do you want to take that statement? It's like, yeah, but you bought it, you
We
broke
didn't
it,
build the
you
we
fix it.
didn't build the system of it. We just built it so they can put a corrupt system in it. You can build a
Okay.
beautiful house, and you can
Uh-huh.
have it can be torrid of devilish intent.
Right.
That's what we did.
Right.
That's all we
Right.
did. And then
I like that.
we we didn't have no control over the systems because they didn't allow us to speak and be in those rooms nor read.
Exactly.
We didn't, we,
That's true.
we didn't build the system.
Right. Right. I like that analogy though, because you can build a house, but whoever moves in is gonna do some stuff inside that house. Hey, I ain't got nothing.
But
Hey,
you can't
that's not
but
us.
you can't get mad at the builder. The builder did what he was supposed to do.
Right.
You can't go back to the
Right. That's a
builder
good
and
one.
say, "Hey, look, you built this house, and I got all of this toxic relationship." They're gonna look at you like you crazy.
Right. Yeah, you did that.
I
I'm
just built
sorry.
the
That's on
house.
you. Right. That's a
Yeah,
good one. That's a good one. Well, look, I don't want to I don't want to belabor
it's
this,
been it's been great. I love it. I'm gonna be tuned in, listening.
I appreciate that. I hope so. So as just as a closer, again, I want to say thank you very
You're
much
welcome. You're welcome.
for agreeing and coming and to share this knowledge and information. Um, I'm glad I didn't get like a lot of the attackers that come. I get sometimes I get like the whole chat room is just filled with attack attack trolls, and I'm glad
Right.
they didn't show up tonight. But
Oh, you should have.
again, say again.
I said they could have. They should have.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. Like you like there's some positive like it helps the algorithm. That's for sure.
Right.
Um, but again, I just want to express my gratitude and thank you
Oh yeah,
for
absolutely.
having the conversation.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to come back, either just we can hash it up in the emails and text messages and whatnot, and we can plot it out.
Okay.
Um, but I'm gonna unless you have some closing words that you want to impart.
Well, my closing word is it's a cloism. I do cloisms when I'm on the radio, and it's short, sweet, and simple. Giving
Uh-huh.
up is not an option. You must speak the opposite of defeat. Your words are powerful, and they're going to work every single time.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ashe is what I say.
Ashe,
Um,
ashe.
Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters of the Pan African world, this has been an evening with. Let me make sure I say this correctly, because I think I missed out. Miss Community Club. Um, we've discussed Carter G. Woodson, Black Media Community Power. This is your brother Shabazz. This is the proper perspective. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe. Make sure that you hit the notification bell, hit the all button on the notification bell, and you stay tuned so that you will get a notification next time we go live. Thank you for joining, listening, participating, and conversing in the chat room.
All right. Have
Peace.
a good one.
Thank you.